Hi, my name is Shari Doherty, and I'm a lady in red, in Act 2 of my career and living my best life. My perspective on life and behaviors have been governed by who I was as a child, who I became, and who I am still striving to be. People my age are beautiful, bold, confident, and full of wisdom, and truly, the encore of the story of your life is still when the best songs are yet to be sung. My mission in this podcast is to shine the spotlight on people like me, have real conversations about reinvention stories, and inspire you to continue to follow your dreams regardless of your age. I'm doing it for Daisy. Who are you doing it for? Good day, and welcome to today's episode of the Encore podcast. Today, I am delighted to have with me Matt Hawksley, who is the founder and CEO of a company called Leadogo, which maximizes human potential. Welcome today, Matt.
Hey, Shari, great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited to chat with you. So, we're not going to do a spoiler alert, but do tell us a little bit about what maximizing human potential means.
Ah, yes. It's such a great and broad question right there. I love it. Yeah, so I like to consider myself a little bit of a Renaissance man. So somebody that, enjoys doing quite a few different things. And as I've and I'll tell some stories as we go through, really enjoy helping people reach their true potential, helping to understand what those goals are and how to do it, but doing it in a fun way. So really when a Renaissance man type of mantra comes to play is, sometimes we just lock in to say, okay, I'm just identified as one thing, a job title or something like what you do for work, or in your family, you have a specific maybe role too. But who do you want to be? And let's go find a way to get there. So I work a lot with entrepreneurs and helping them to launch businesses. I also work with a lot of middle managers or executives to help them truly transform and to maximize and optimize their businesses. So it's been a fun ride along the way, and it didn't always start that way. Which
Well,
yes, I know we'll dive into that part of it too.
for sure, that's where we're going. So, absolutely, it sounds like it's perfectly well aligned with the mission of this to help people in, particularly in my case, their encore careers, but obviously just to maximize themselves and life, whether it's in business or in their family or just finding joy, because that is why we're all here, is to spread a little and find a little bit of joy. So, going backwards, if you will, tell us a little bit about Matt, who you are, where you were born and raised, what your childhood was like, and maybe any highlights or lowlights that you're comfortable to share.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm from the U.S., American. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. So I was born there. Most of my family is in the Midwest. So got that little bit of a Midwest kind of charm and kindness, just like the Canadian style here. And I moved, my father got transferred to the Philadelphia suburbs in New Jersey back when I was about 4 or 5 years old. So I got that fast-paced lifestyle on the Philadelphia side. So I have two younger sisters, and my parents, I would like to say, it's kind of like growing up as the Brady Bunch. So we were always pretty tight knit, and everyone got along together for the most part throughout. And it was a lot of fun. So we grew up, like I said, in southern New Jersey, and typical suburban type of lifestyle. I had gone to a private high school and met some amazing friends that I still have today. And I went to university in a small school called Mount St. Mary's in Maryland. And I loved athletics, loved sports. Still today, a little bit of a sports junkie. And going back to that Renaissance man type thing, I was always pretty good at most things, maybe never the best at one thing. And I ended up kind of stumbling into track and field because I injured my knee in soccer in high school. And turns out I was better at that than any of the other sports I was currently playing. So really dedicated to that, and walked on at the university, and then got some athletic scholarship too, and eventually
Wow.
worked my way to be a decathlete. And kind of that Renaissance man has been sown throughout the entire thing, because one of my coaches had said, Matt, you're a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Hmm.
And at first, I kind of was maybe a little bit frustrated by that, and because I wanted to be the best, but I slowly started to understand, okay, these are some of my strengths. Like really embrace that part of it, and you can continue to drive and really go forward and far by understanding who you are. And after I finished university, I went into international business, something that I always loved. I was a major in business, double major in business and French. Got to go abroad and study, and then also when I started the working world, I worked for a company called BDP International, and some great people, very family oriented business, privately held at the time, and I was able to really get a lot of experience with leadership. It was an import export logistics company, and it gave me so many opportunities. I was able to travel. I lived abroad. I lived in Europe and Belgium
Wow.
for a couple of years, and got to really expand my horizons from a business side. But also, it was one of the most transformational times in my life where I was really truly away from everything that I had known and just experiencing life. I had been married at the time. My ex-wife, she was on a project in Denmark, and we were able to just go all over across Europe. We met so many different people, and it was an amazing experience. And we came back to Philadelphia after a couple years and continued to work for that organization for nearly 20 years. So it was it became part of my family in a way, and
Oh, yeah.
uh, it was really something special. And I got to see the company grow. When I started, I think there was about 800, 900 people, still a pretty big company, but I was able to see it grow all the way up to 5,000 people and become one of
Wow.
the key players from an operational standpoint.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so what brought you to Canada now? And now we have the pleasure of having you here.
Yeah. So, for me, work was always something that I had put to the top of the list, and unfortunately sometimes with relationships that suffered, and both of us at the time were pretty career driven. I had also been in a relationship, and that fortunately after that didn't pan out, but I had started to look at my life, and I was in Chicago at the time. I was running operations for the Midwest and Canada, and I started to say, okay, how am I spending my time,
Hmm.
and then what are my values? So I started to really dive
Just
into
curious, how
what
old are
my
you around
values
this
are.
time?
So I was in my, let's say, early 40s.
Okay, let's
So
see.
it's
That
like maybe
tracks.
early to
Okay.
mid 40s. Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's tracking for that part. And I was, looking at some of the different values I had were with purpose and kind of that passion and adventure, service, family, integrity. And then I looked at and saw, okay, how am I actually spending my time? And I loved, as I mentioned, the company I was with. I really enjoyed the job and the people that I was working alongside and the clients I was trying to help. But there's something missing in a part of my life. With passion, I mean, I had traveled and got a lot of opportunities, and I was very blessed when it comes to that. But there were certain things with a career and vocation type things that just I was maybe feeling unfulfilled. And with like service, I really engage. I really enjoy helping other people, and as I mentioned, reaching their potential, that type of thing. But I just found myself traveling so much for work, and I did enjoy most really working with the teams, really leading and driving the change. But I wasn't really able to do that on the side. I wasn't volunteering. I wasn't engaging in maybe some other different types of organizations and service organizations. So I did a hard stop and took a look at really what I wanted to do. And it was at that time the company was going through some changes. It had recently been bought by a private equity, and so there was some possibilities for me. But at the same time, I knew what was going to happen if I chose path A versus going down a little bit more of an undiscovered road, path B. And I really started to look at the pros and cons of change, and really what was the worst case scenario of me actually just getting out there and doing something different and going after what it is that I wanted. So that's what led me actually to Queen's University here in Kingston, Ontario.
Interesting.
I had wanted to really drive with innovation and entrepreneurship. I had done an executive MBA at the University of Missouri previously, and I really love that higher education. I love continuous learning, and I wanted to really dive in. When I left university, I wanted three things: to work my way to the top of an organization, to gain international experience and live abroad, and to start a business from the ground up.
Wow, you're
So
very
that
clear on your
third one,
goals. I respect that.
so that third one, yeah, exactly. So that 22-year-old self was still coming through, telling me, hey, what about that third goal in life? And that was kind of almost like compounding interest. It was still just growing and growing, and to the point where I was like, okay, what am I afraid of? And I made that conscious decision to kind of leave everything that I knew, and it was very difficult. There were some relationships, personal relationships that had ended, but also that company, like for 20 plus years, it was like a family as well.
Yeah.
So I made that decision to just go pursue this and went to Queen's University, did the master's in innovation and entrepreneurship and the business school. And, it was another eye-opening and transformational experience with about 86 people with 22 different countries represented. So it
Wow.
was just a really, really incredible and, like I said, eye-opening experience. And it set the stage for what was to come next.
That is beautiful. Okay. So I guess I know some of your backstory because we also have a personal relationship, but yeah, there's so many things I could ask you next, which are interesting. Let's go with Leadogo.
Yeah.
What does that mean and what does that business do?
Sure. So that third part of I was mentioning that goal with one to start my own thing. Leadogo stands for Leaders in Doing Good. So what we do,
I've
it
always
started out
wondered
as kind
that.
of coaching. Yeah. So what was the origin of that name, right? Yeah, or is it just kind of gibberish, right? But it was really starting out as my coaching and kind of consulting business. So I had gone in and actually did some training with IPEC coaching program and association. So learned a lot of the different tools and tricks and everything about coaching. I wanted to do a little bit more with the business side and rather than just life coaching, but it was just eye opening, and the things that I had learned to combine that with some of my education and just really that experiential part where I was just immersing myself with new people. And what we were able to continue to form, I met some people at Queen's University that were a part of the organization. So I do have a partner as well. She's now in Vancouver. And we started to continue to drive more towards creating more positive impact. So we do work with an organization in Ghana, in Africa.
Yes,
Uh,
I love this
and
part.
yes, so we have actually started a program called eJobs for All, or Entrepreneurship Jobs for All. So we partner with a nonprofit there, CD Ghana, and a good friend now, Kingsley. And with the Innovation Center at Queen's University and Leadogo, we formed this new group that was going to be then working with up and coming young entrepreneurs to really address poverty and youth unemployment. Youth unemployment is a big problem in Ghana. They're continuing to improve a lot of the educational areas, and they're producing more and more graduates, but there's not enough jobs to come into. So what we've been trying to do is really harness entrepreneurship skills and to build some new businesses and talent that can create more jobs to help the economy and help more and more people come out of poverty. And it has also
Amazing.
been one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Again, kind of when you flash back and think of all the different things I was doing, and then you take that unknown, course or path B, it was really, really just amazing because I'm working with so many different driven, ambitious young entrepreneurs that, don't have a safety net. They're just going all in on things. And it's whether it's agriculture businesses or tech businesses, marketing companies, different things. They're doing so much to just, trying to bring new ideas and innovations to their country, to their community. And I have learned so much from them as much as maybe they've even learned from me, if not more. So it's such a great program that we're looking to continue to expand that throughout Ghana, but then also in other countries in Africa too, as we continue to build that. And just taking some of those areas to then help other people, to help individuals. And we also do workshops for organizations as well. So really helping what I call like reinvention. So kind of opening people's eyes. And I've been working on a book too called Reinvention, the Art of Learning in the Open. which is
Nice.
essentially part of my story where I have been that kind of career corporate type and then broke away. Those first 40 days was almost biblical. I went and traveled around Canada and the US, just meeting entrepreneurs and coaches, doing things I'd never made time for. But one of the most amazing things was the people that you meet and the things that you can learn from these individuals. So you can combine that with kind of that theory, but most importantly is application. What are you going to do with all these nuggets of wisdom and
Right.
insights that are coming your way? So that's more or less what we're doing and developing a actual kind of an individual accelerator, like a people accelerator, rather than
Right.
just a startup. A lot of times that's where companies are kind of incubated or kind of accelerated along to help scale. But all of that, like I said before, that human potential, we're creating a people accelerator where they can really reinvent themselves in a very dynamic and ever-changing world today. So getting the right skills, the right mindset that are going to help them to propel forward.
Wow. I love the words people accelerator. Though that's a beautiful phrase. I might steal it. So if you start hearing me say it, I will give you credit to
All
where I
good.
heard about that. But you might hear me say
Perfect.
that at some point in time. I can
Yep.
tell how passionate you are about this work, and it's beautiful because you actually light up when you talk about it. And I can tell
Yep.
you genuinely mean that you're passionate about the work that you do in the community that you serve. So I
Yep.
love that. That's all beautiful. And it's so nice when you just see people in their prime. And
Hmm.
I call it when you're in like a state of momentum or flow
Yeah.
and you just know it's good and you just want to
Right.
stay there for as long as you can. So that's
Hmm.
beautiful. I
Hmm.
know that you recently added another layer. So you have another new adventure afoot. Where are you today and what are you doing?
Yeah, so in my business, I had done some consulting as well with some operations and some coaching, and I work with a great company called Light Body Marketing, and uh, and now I'm actually heading up the operations full time as well for them. It's an amazing group of people. It's a small company, but really positioned to grow and to scale, and I love some of the innovative ways that they're going about to help organizations to really build their brand and then really market in a very new dynamic time with AI, with a lot of the changing ecosystem from digital marketing. It's a really kind of forward thinking strategy, and we're looking forward to really releasing a lot more over the course of the next several months. So it's been a really amazing experience, and I know in some cases, like even talking to my family or whatever, things seem somewhat non sequitur, where there's like a plot over here and there's a plot over here and a plot over here, all those different things that I'm doing, and but there is a kind of master plan. So it is kind of that for me, like I said, that kind of Renaissance man type mentality. But what in the book and what I kind of talk about, when you're really wanting to do reinvention and you're wanting to then grow, you almost need a little bit of intentional transience or kind of
Mhm.
the experience is what I call like musking, like Elon Musk. This man is, I can't even, claim to have like one brain cell compared to his million, but we see like he's truly innovating and changing the way we do things and uh, believing in so much and then making those things happen. But he's not in one company or just one type of role. He has Tesla and SpaceX and the
Right.
list goes on and on. And I'm not like him, and I do sleep at night and I kind of have to rest and I do that. But there are very targeted areas where I believe one, the world is heading, and also how I can get engaged. So I've been involved, like I said, for the digital marketing side. So I'm excited to really be on the advent of something special there. I'm also working with a group of people on an AI startup as well that's going to help for education for teachers. So we're looking at a few different ways to automate the actual grading process and the feedback, the assessment process
Interesting.
as well. Uh, with my business, like I said before, the People Accelerator, and then working with a lot more of some young up and comers in Africa to then bring them and build a bridge to a lot more resources as well. And then I continue to teach part time and a few other things. And then, as you know, I'm involved with the Rotary Club
I was going there
as
next.
well. So
So,
yeah,
yes.
So I was the president of the Rotary Club here in Kingston. So after a short time, I've lived here in Kingston for 5 years, and then next thing you know, I'm the president of the Rotary Club. But like I mentioned, that one value service that was so special for me too. So I was able to really quickly get involved with the community and give back and do so many different things. So what ended up happening, these little non sequitur plot points that were all of my life, all kind of make up the specific strategy for my reinvention that aligned with
I
all
love
of the
it.
different parts of my value, and then also to create a new livelihood where before I had a very comfortable uh, lifestyle, and it was great. I had a lot of great friends, and I knew where I stood. I had an identity, but I knew that I wanted to try something different and be something different. So in a way, what I was able to do is then create all those different plot points that, now are coming together in one, it's been in a fun, it's an experience, right? Like, we talk about the journey so much and those
Oh,
types of things, but you really
absolutely.
need to enjoy that part of it, not just a relentless pursuit of the outcome. It's got to
Well,
be kind of that experience along the way, right?
yeah, you're painting a beautiful picture.
Mhm.
And it takes steps and colors and strokes and all the things to paint the ultimate picture for you. It's interesting that you went to Rotary because I was going there because
Mhm.
you had made it very clear that service is important to you and community is important to you. And that was one of the things you
Mhm.
were missing in your travel life portion,
Mhm.
corporate life.
Yeah.
And I know that you've put your roots down in Kingston, and we all love Kingston. And I know that very quickly you've become a key member of our community. And I know that, Rotary is something that's very important to you. So if you want
Mhm.
to, go ahead and take 2 minutes and maybe share with people what Rotary does and how they could get involved and how they do contribute to the community.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Rotary, it's an international organization and a service organization. So it's really a fantastic a group. So many times you probably drive into a new town and you see a little sign from like Lions
Mhm.
Club or Rotary and
Yeah.
those types of things. So people don't understand maybe past that wheel, the logo, what that really is. But it started out at the turn of the 19th century, or 20th century, but in Chicago, and it was almost like a business development type group. But then it started to really morph into such a great service organization where a lot of the different fundraisers and charities are giving back to the local community. So you see a lot of times with the park. There's one here too, the Rotary Park
Mhm.
in Kingston, and the fundraising and the volunteering that goes into it to then give back to a lot of the different local chapters and the local organizations. So for me, I wanted to really get involved in doing more for my community. I've lived in Philadelphia and in Europe and Chicago and different places, and I've never really been able to have full roots. Let's just say.
Right.
So here, I really wanted to become part of a community, and Rotary was just that wonderful group of people. I was able to then, for me, from a business standpoint, meet a lot of the different
Sure.
business people that have been here for a long time, and I was able to then leverage that into a lot of introductions and just great conversations, and then also meet a lot of the people in the nonprofits and engage with volunteering efforts, and you feel good about and feel fulfilled with some of the different things we've done. So one of the most amazing experiences was during COVID, where we were driving food boxes to some families in need. And so each week we would deliver these boxes. And when it came time for the holidays and Christmas, we had known some of the families had some young children, and we were able to give some stuffed animals and
Beautiful.
little presents, because we knew that maybe some of these families might not have the funds to be able to provide a lot for their children. And
Beautiful.
one of the families was a little girl that came to the door, and I was delivering the food, the box, and I said, okay, hey, you stay right there because I've got something in my car for you. I think Santa had left this in my car for you. And then just the sheer look on her face. And then I went to bring the stuffed animal, and I said, hey, this is especially for you, and Santa wanted you to have it. And she was just overjoyed, and
Aw.
just it literally, she was so excited and almost jumping up and down. And when I walked back to the car, it was just, those were the moments where I was like, that's what it's about.
Right.
That's what was missing in my life, and I wanted to make time to do that, just that simple gesture where I was driving around with food boxes or giving a stuffed animal to some of the youth made the difference. And it made me feel good about how I was able to give back to the community. So I was able to do that. And then even from that, as I mentioned, like through the program that we're running in Ghana and Africa, to give back even some of my, knowledge and skill to then some of them, just to make a difference, across an ocean. So that
Right.
was where Rotary as well does so much internationally, and just being a part of that group, it energizes me too.
I can tell. That's beautiful. That is fascinating. So, how old are you now?
I am 49.
Okay, so almost
49.
at the
I
magical
had to think
halfway
about that,
mark.
Sherry. I was like, wait a second, actually, am I? Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
on. So almost at
Yeah.
the magical mark, and it doesn't sound like there's any slowing down for future Matt. And what do those plans look like? What do you see yourself doing for another 10 or 20 years?
Yeah, I think there's definitely, I'm not very good at slowing down too much.
No,
That's
me either.
definitely not I was a sprinter back in the day. Like I said,
Yeah.
I was a decathlete, so I like to go fast and quick. So yeah, I want to continue to build some of the things that we have started here and continue to make a difference. I like to think of myself as a catalyst for positive change. So in some of those key areas that I just mentioned, I want to continue to further build those relationships and connect with as many people and help as many people as I possibly can. So we're going to be looking to really in the coming year really put out that People Accelerator program. I've got 2 books in the in percolating in the pipeline that should be hopefully coming out in 2025. And then
Wow.
from a personal life as well, I'm engaged now. So
Yay!
yeah, so that's
Congratulations.
exciting. Yeah,
That is exciting.
I don't know. It's one of those things that in coaching we would always say too that you put out that kind of energy and you get it in return. So
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
definitely all about that.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So, given that you coach people to maximize their own potential and that you work with young entrepreneurs and thinking about the evolution of yourself, what is the number one piece of advice you would give people who are in a season of reinvention?
And that's a great question. And one of the biggest things, especially if I was looking back in my life too, I think I at times was afraid to either take that first step, or I worried what other people would think. So it's kind of almost being bold. Do it, understand who you want to be, what it is that you want to do, and then start.
Right.
There's no reason that you should wait. There's no reason that you should be afraid. You have to go out and live your life. We get one shot at this. You are the protagonist in your story, not somebody else. At best, they can only be supporting characters, right?
Right.
So if you want to change, then go do it. And I think when you do it, uh, feel that sense of urgency a little bit. It's not just like, uh, kind of, you need to run with your hair on fire kind of thing. But, if you really want it, be bold, take that step, and
Mhm.
you will reap all of the benefits, from that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we talk a lot about in my house the same kind of thought of
Mhm.
it's okay to be afraid, do it
Mhm.
anyways, because that's where the
Exactly.
greatness
Yep.
lies is within the afraid
Mhm.
or in the unknown or the first times or whatnot. And like that's a beautiful way to live your life and to embrace your life. So
Yep.
I love that. Is there
Yep.
anything else you'd
Mhm.
like to share with everyone before we wrap this up?
Well, no, I think that's mostly it. I kind of
Yeah.
gave all kinds of good
Well, that was a
stories,
cherry
hopefully,
on
and
top right
entertained a little
there.
bit there. Yes,
A little bit of a
exactly.
mic drop. That's all you need
There
to know
we
about
go.
Matt
Yeah.
Hawksley. However,
Yeah.
where could people
Well,
find you if they wanted to find you and follow your
yes.
story and follow your journeys?
Yep. Well, great. You can find me on LinkedIn. So Matt Hawksley. Also at Leadogo, Leadogo.io, and we'll be putting out a few more things as we roll. So find me on those couple spots, and then you'll be able to kind of get some newsletters and things that we're going to be pushing out in 2025.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us today. I've truly, truly enjoyed this conversation. And I will be in your corner cheering you on all the way along with everything that you do. And it is a pleasure to speak to you today, as well as just know you in general. So thank you.
And likewise, thanks so much, Shari. I really appreciate it and had a lot of fun.